Sunshine, the Danny Boyle, Alex Garland movie. Danny Boyle and Alex Garland collaborated on The Beach. They collaborated on 28 Days Later. They collaborated then on Sunshine. The story is the sun is dying and Earth is sending a crew with a bomb the size of Manhattan to jumpstart. The problem is, as their ship, which is the second out of 2 missions that have tried this before, as they're on their way to slingshot around Mercury, they pick up the distress signal of the first failed mission. And everything goes wrong in this movie. With sci-fi movies, normally you'll think that it's computer error or some, external threat that is destroying everything. In this, it's human error. One person makes a small mistake that goes from one crisis to another crisis, and everything goes wrong after a human error when they decide that they're going to change the mission. I love Sunshine. I have loved Sunshine ever since I saw it for the first time, maybe around maybe 2009 or something. This is the type of science fiction movie that if you like the serious science fiction stuff, if you like 2001, if you like Alien, if you like Blade Runner, if you like Solaris, if you like the movies that go out into space and deal with how alone this world really is, how alone it feels, just the existential threat of really everything in existence. If you're that type of person that likes to think about, ponder that type of stuff, then this is absolutely the movie for you. Sunshine is praised by almost, I think, every reputable filmmaker that speaks out on movies as one of the greatest science fiction movies of all time. The thing I wanted to speak on, though, most filmmakers, most critics, the consensus of this movie is that the first 2/3 is fantastic, and that the movie in the third act completely loses the story, but that the first 2 acts are so good that it is still worthy of watching and rewatching, even though the third act completely loses the plot. I would say I do not think that the third act loses the plot at all. I think the reason that it gets the criticism that it gets is that people that enjoy the movie so identify with the serious sci-fi that comes from things like 2001: A Space Odyssey, from Solaris, from Alien. And look, let me just say, 2001 is my favorite movie, so I totally understand the joy that comes from the very, very serious, methodical type of science fiction stories. In Sunshine, though, what the movie does around the third act is it becomes a bit more of an Alien movie than a 2001 movie, a bit more of the horror than the contemplative. So the critique is it loses its way and goes in a totally different direction. I think that what you're looking at is most people saw and were loving the 2001 and they were loving the Solaris vibe, that whenever the Alien vibe comes in, they are unable to see what type of world they're living in anymore. They were expecting more of what they love from the first 2, that when you get more of the Alien story, you just lose the consistency. What I would say is that I think that the way, and that's the thing, I'm trying not to give it away. There's a horror element in the last act, and I think it is consistent with everything that was built in those first 2 acts. See, the great thing about Sunshine is that while science fiction does so much to ponder artificial intelligence, and things like 2001 did such a good job with that, there's something in science fiction that is not kind of seen so much, and that is just human error, just human fallibility, and that really is the driving force behind this movie, and it's putting that in the context of the vastness of space, the vastness of our sun, the fragility of the human race. It's a disaster movie that continually ups the stakes with human nature and the errors of human nature as the fire that is lighting the bomb that is eventually going to destroy all of us. And I think everything that motivates, everything that drives the horror elements in that last part of the movie is the same thing that makes the first 2 acts so brilliant. Now, I don't necessarily think that everything in the last act is executed as technically brilliantly as Danny Boyle deals with the first 2 halves, but I also don't think that it is so vastly different that the movie really feels like it collapses in on itself in the third act. I think the ending is spectacular. I think the movie through and through is true to itself, keeps its themes in place while being visually, and from an audio perspective, when it comes to audio, no one makes movies like Lynn Ramsey and Danny Boyle. They are fantastic with sound. That sound gets under your skin. It terrifies you. It makes you terrified. It makes you cry. It makes you feel joy. They're so good with that. Danny Boyle and Sunshine in particular is really, really fantastic with it. He'd go on to 127 hours later to do really even more brilliant work with sound. Danny Danny Boyle and Alex Garland are huge forces to be reckoned with in the film world, and Sunshine, I think, passes the test as one of the greatest science fiction movies that has ever been created, and even though people like to crap on the third act, I don't think it is deserved. Give me your thoughts on Sunshine. Leave your thoughts below in the comments. Be sure to like and share the video, and also subscribe to 5 Minute Critic for future updates on reviews and movie news.